Look at the number in that title, 21 pounds. Before we take a single step further, let me be straight with you about it. Because you deserve that a lot more than you deserve another shouting headline. I'm Dr. Becker, and this is Lose Fat with Dr. Becker, where I read the studies and tell you what actually holds up when the thumbnail stops yelling. And here's the honest note I owe you every single time. I'm a researcher, not your doctor. I am not the before and after in that picture. None of this is medical advice, and you never quit or change a medication on your own. So, I want to be careful here, because I'm about to disagree with a popular thumbnail, including the kind I make. You saw the title. I quit these 7 foods and lost 21 pounds fast. Let me tell you honestly what that means, because I owe you that before I ask for 20 minutes of your day. That headline isn't my before and after to sell you. I didn't quit 7 foods and drop 21 pounds. I'm the one who reads the research. The 21 pounds is what shows up, over months, when people actually cut these things and stop putting them back. I sat with a woman last spring, call her Marlene, who had been told to just eat less for the 10th time and was ready to give up. She didn't count a single calorie. She just quietly removed the 7 things I'm about to walk you through, one at a time, and over about 5 months the middle came down and the number on the scale followed. Not overnight, not magic. And your body is not Marlene's body, so I can't promise you her number. What I can do is show you the mechanism, honestly, so you can decide. And that little phrase in the title, better than fasting, here's what I actually mean. For a lot of people over 50, white-knuckling through a 16-hour fast is miserable, and they cave by week 2. Just cutting these 7 things, and eating real food the rest of the time, tends to be easier to live with and, for many folks, moves the fat around the organs just as well. It isn't a contest, it isn't guaranteed, but if fasting has beaten you before, this is the gentler road, and it works on the same machinery. Let me show you. Let me start with an opinion before any study. For years, I thought the answer to belly fat was simply, eat less of everything. I said it to people, I believed it, and I want to own that here because it's the kind of advice that sounds responsible and quietly does harm. It's not wrong, exactly, but it's cruel and it's incomplete, because it leaves you starving and confused when the middle won't move no matter how small your plate gets. You cut the portions, you feel hungry all day, and the number on the scale sits there mocking you, and you decide the problem must be you. It isn't you. What I've come to believe, reading the visceral fat papers, is that the more useful question is not how much, but what, exactly, keeps telling your liver to store. Because visceral fat, and let me translate that, that's the deep fat that wraps around your liver and your gut, not the soft inch you can pinch at the surface. Visceral fat responds to what you eat far faster than you'd think. Remove the handful of things that keep feeding it, and it starts to let go. So this is an avoid list. 7 foods. Least offensive first, most surprising one last. For each I'll give you why it parks fat around the organs, the honest catch, and what to put in its place. Because a list of don'ts with no swap is useless to a real person on a real Tuesday. Number 1 on the list. And I'm starting here because it's the biggest lever most people ignore. Sugar-sweetened drinks. Soda, sweet tea, the flavored coffees, the fruit punches, the energy drinks. Here's the mechanism, and I'll keep it plain. When you drink your sugar instead of chewing it, a big slug of fructose hits your liver all at once, with no fiber to slow it down and nothing to make you feel full. Your liver, faced with more sugar than it can use, does what it's built to do and turns the excess into fat. And a lot of that fat gets parked right there around the organs. The imaging studies are fairly consistent on this. People who drink more sugary drinks tend to carry more visceral fat over the years, even when the rest of their diet looks similar. Now the honest catch, because I won't oversell it. One soda at a birthday party is not going to give you a fatty liver. This is about the daily habit, the 2 or 3 a day, the I've always had my afternoon Coke. Dose and pattern are what matter, not a single glass. The swap. This is the easiest big win on the whole list. Water, sparkling water, unsweetened tea, black coffee. If plain water bores you, and I get it, drop a wedge of lemon or a few frozen berries in a jug in the fridge. If you drink 2 sugary drinks a day and you trade them for water, you have just removed more added sugar than most diets ever ask you to, and you didn't count a thing. I'll tell you what I'd actually do if it were my waist. I'd start here, this week, and nowhere else, because it's the single change with the biggest payoff for the least willpower. Let me put that on the plate before we move on. Number 2, refined flour. White bread, white rolls, most pastries, the pale supermarket bagel, the donut, the cheap wrap. When flour is refined, the bran and the germ, the parts with the fiber, get stripped out, and what's left is starch that your gut turns into glucose almost the moment it hits your mouth. White bread sits high on the glycemic index, up in the 70s, which just means it spikes your blood sugar fast. And here's the one-line bridge I'll allow myself, because insulin is the belly fat story. When blood sugar spikes, insulin rises to clear it, and insulin is the hormone that tells your body to store fat rather than burn it. Do that 3 or 4 times a day, every day, and you keep your body in storage mode. The honest catch. Bread is not poison, and I'm not going to stand here and tell a 70-year-old to never eat toast again. That's not living. The problem is refined flour as the base of nearly every meal. And there's a fair nuance here that the fear videos skip. Sourdough, even made from white flour, is fermented, and it tends to spike you less. Whole grain and rye bread, with the fiber left in, spike you less again. So the swap isn't never bread, it's better bread less often. Real whole grain, seeded, dense, sourdough. And when you do eat the refined stuff, eat it after your protein and your vegetables, not first on an empty stomach, because the order you eat things in genuinely blunts the spike. Here's the order to eat it in, if you remember one thing. Vegetables and protein first, the starch last. Which brings me to the one most people skip. Number 3, ultra-processed snack foods. And I need to define this carefully, because it's the phrase everyone uses and no one explains. Ultra-processed doesn't just mean made in a factory. It means food that's been broken down and rebuilt with ingredients you'd never have in your own kitchen, engineered to be soft, sweet, salty, and so easy to eat that you don't stop. The chips, the packaged cookies, the snack cakes, the crackers, the cheese puffs. Here's what the newer research is showing, and it genuinely changed my mind. It isn't only the calories. When people eat an ultra-processed diet, they tend to eat faster, eat more before they feel full, and gain more fat, even compared to unprocessed food with the same calories on paper. There's a careful feeding study out recently comparing an unprocessed diet with an ultra-processed one, and the ultra-processed one drove more fat gain. And in the older adults following the big Spanish Predimed trial, the people whose ultra-processed intake climbed put on more visceral fat, specifically. The honest catch. Process covers a lot of ground, and I don't want you throwing out plain frozen vegetables or canned beans in a panic. Those are your friends. The trouble is the engineered snack, the stuff designed so you can't stop at one. The swap. Keep the easy whole food snacks visible and the packaged ones out of the house, because willpower is mostly a shopping decision, not a character flaw. Here's the honest truth about that. If the cheese puffs are in the cupboard at 9 at night, you will eat the cheese puffs, and so would I. The trick isn't being stronger, it's not buying them, so the tired evening version of you never has to fight that fight. Put a bowl of apples on the counter where the chips used to sit, a handful of nuts, an apple with a little cheese, plain yogurt, olives, a boiled egg you cooked 6 of on Sunday, so they're just there in the fridge. I know what some of you are thinking. I've cut all the junk and my middle still won't move. Fair, stay with me, because the next few are the sneaky ones you might not have counted as junk at all. Number 4. Processed and deli meats. The bacon, the hot dogs, the salami, the packaged lunch meat, the breakfast sausage. Now, let me back up, because I have to be careful and fair here. A slice of turkey is not going to give you a fatty liver by Friday. This is a modest, slow effect, and the studies that measure it say so honestly, but they do measure it. When researchers pooled the long-term studies, following hundreds of thousands of adults, a daily serving of processed meat tracked with a small but real yearly creep in weight and in the waistline. Fractions of a centimeter a year on the waist, per daily serving. That sounds tiny, and for 1 year it is, but run it across a decade and it adds up, and the mechanism makes sense, because these meats come loaded with salt, refined fillers, and a lot of calories in a small, easy-to-overeat package. Let me say that more carefully. It's not that meat is the enemy. It's that the ultra-processed, salted, preserved forms travel with the whole pattern that stores fat. The swap: lean, minimally processed protein you'd recognize. Roast chicken you carved yourself. Eggs, fish. Plain roasted turkey breast instead of the pressed deli slices. Beans and lentils, which do double duty with fiber. If bacon on a Sunday is one of your joys, keep it, genuinely. Just don't let the processed meats be the everyday backbone of your protein. Stay with me, because the next one surprised me, and I'll tell you plainly where I've changed my mind. Number 5. Refined seed and vegetable oils, and specifically the way they show up in fried and processed food. Now, this is the item where I have to be the most honest with you, because there's a lot of noise online, and a good chunk of it is wrong. Let me tell you what the evidence actually says, not what the loudest thumbnail says, including some I've been tempted to make. The claim you hear is that seed oils, canola, soybean, sunflower, are toxic and inflame your body and make you fat all on their own. And the human research, when you actually read it, does not support that. Reviews this year of the outcome data found that the linoleic acid in these oils does not raise inflammation markers and does not increase chronic disease risk. And large studies actually link plant oils, used in place of animal fat, with lower mortality. So I'm not going to lie to you and call a spoon of canola in your home cooking poison. It isn't. Here's the real problem, and it's a subtler one. These oils are the cheap workhorse of deep-fried fast food and packaged snacks, heated over and over, wrapped around refined flour and salt. When you're loading up on visceral fat from seed oils, it's almost never the oil by itself. It's the fried, ultra-processed food the oil is carrying. Let me say that more carefully. The oil is the passenger you noticed. The refined, fried, calorie-dense food is the driver. The swap: cook at home where you control the amount and lean on olive oil for most of it, which has the strongest evidence behind it. And cut down on the deep-fried takeout and the fried packaged stuff. Not because a molecule of canola is evil, but because that food is a calorie bomb no matter what oil it swims in. If you take one honest thing from this whole video, take that one, because it's the one the internet gets loudest and most wrong about. Alright, same idea, different aisle. Number 6, and this is the one that makes people mutter at the screen: the low-fat and diet products with added sugar. The low-fat yogurt with fruit on the bottom, the light salad dressing, the reduced-fat cookies, the diet cereal, the snack bar with a green label and a picture of a meadow. Here's the trick that was played on all of us, and I fell for it too for years, so I'm not lecturing from above. Decades ago we were told fat was the enemy, so the food companies pulled the fat out of everything. But fat is what makes food taste good and keeps you full, so to make the low-fat version edible, they poured in sugar. A systematic comparison of low-fat versus regular versions of the same foods found the low-fat ones often carried more sugar, not less. So you buy the healthy one, feeling virtuous, and you've swapped feeling fat for the exact thing, added sugar, that drives your liver to store. That's the cruel part. The label told you it was the diet choice, the honest catch. Not every low-fat product is a trap, and I don't want you scared of the whole dairy aisle. Plain, unsweetened low-fat yogurt is fine. The trap is specifically the ones where sugar rushed in to replace the fat. So here's the swap, and it's a 2-second habit that changes everything. Turn the box around and read the sugar line, not the front of the package. The front of the package is marketing. The ingredients and the sugar per serving are the truth. Choose plain and add your own fruit. Full-fat plain yogurt with real berries will keep you fuller and honestly happier than the sweetened, light cup that leaves you hungry an hour later. And that leaves the last one, number 7. The one I save for the end, because it's the one people least want to hear. Alcohol, and especially beer and sugary mixers. Here's the mechanism, and it's a clean one. Alcohol is nearly as calorie-dense as pure fat, second only to fat among the things we consume. And those are what researchers call empty calories. No protein, no fiber, nothing that fills you. But it's worse than just the calories. When there's alcohol in your system, your liver drops everything to burn it off first, because it treats alcohol like a toxin to clear. And while your liver is busy burning the alcohol, it is not burning your fat. So the fat you would have used for fuel just sits and gets stored. A large imaging study, one of the more recent ones, found that people who drink more each week carry a disproportionately higher share of that dangerous visceral fat, the deep kind around the organs, and it goes up with the amount. More drinking, more of that fat. The honest catch, and I'll be fair, because fairness is the whole point of this channel, the beer belly as a beer-specific curse is actually a bit of a myth. It's not that beer magically targets your gut, it's that beer, wine, the sweet cocktails, they're liquid calories that stall your fat burning and lower the guard that keeps you from eating the whole basket of chips. It's the pattern, not a hex on one drink. The swap. If you drink, and many of you do and enjoy it, the doable version isn't necessarily zero, and I'm not going to wag a finger at a man who likes a beer on his porch after a long day. It's fewer, and it's smaller, and it's not on autopilot every single night. Trade the 2 beers most evenings for a couple of nights a week. Pour the beer into a proper glass instead of drinking from the can, because it slows you down and you notice it more. Swap the sugary mixer for soda water and lime, which alone can cut a cocktail sugar to almost nothing. And here's the one that matters most. Notice the trans eating that comes with the drink. Because for a lot of folks, the drink itself is fewer calories than the whole basket of snacks it quietly switches on. The chips only appear once the second beer is open. Watch for that pattern and you found more than the alcohol. And let me be straight with you. Here's the part the thumbnails leave out, mine included. There is no food that melts fat while you sleep, and there's no 7-item list that guarantees you 21 pounds by a date on the calendar. Marlene's number was Marlene's number, over 5 patient months, and yours will be your own. Visceral fat does respond, and faster than you'd expect once you stop feeding it, but it responds to the boring stuff done consistently, not to a magic compound, and not to a single heroic week. And I have to slow you down on one more thing, because it matters more than all 7 combined. If you are on a GLP-1 medication, an Ozempic, a Wegovy, a Mounjaro, or a metformin, or anything your doctor put you on, none of this replaces it, and none of it is a reason to change it. Removing these 7 foods works alongside your doctor, never instead of them. Never touch a dose on your own. A natural approach is a nudge to your own body's machinery. It is not a shot, and it is not a prescription. Anyone who tells you to quit your medication because they found the right food is selling you something, and it isn't your health. Please hear me on that one. So here's your one thing this week, because I promised you doable and I meant it. Don't try to quit all 7 at once. That's how people burn out by Thursday. Pick number 1, just the sugary drinks. For 7 days, every sweet drink becomes water, sparkling water, unsweetened tea, or black coffee. That's it. That's the whole assignment. It's cheap, it's at every tap and every supermarket, and it removes more hidden sugar from your week than almost anything else you could do. Once that feels normal, and it will in about a week, add number 2, the refined flour, and eat your bread better and later in the meal. Then the next and the next, one at a time, at whatever pace your real life allows. Marlene didn't do this in a weekend, she did it one swap at a time, and the swaps stuck because none of them ever felt like starvation. Your metabolism didn't betray you, and you didn't fail. The middle changed because the machinery changed with age, the way everyone's does, and the machinery still answers to what you put in front of it next. Small, repeatable, alongside your doctor. That's the whole game. This was never about a before and after photo or a number I can promise you. It's about quietly taking the 7 things that keep telling your liver to store off the daily table, one at a time, and letting your own body do what it already knows how to do. Bring your waist measurement and your numbers to the people caring for you, because that's where the medicine belongs. And let this be the food part you can actually control. Keep it steady, keep it doable, and I'll see you right back here. Bring a friend who needs this, and tell me in the comments where you carry it and what you've already tried. I read these. Let me be honest with you for a minute. If you're past 55 and you wake up tired, foggy, carrying weight that won't move, you've probably been told that's just age. I don't believe that, and the research doesn't either. Most of what we call aging starts inside your cells, and the quiet truth is that the right foods, eaten the right way, can help your body defend and repair itself again. Not a pill, not a miracle, food. So I put everything into 3 short practical guides. One for your energy by day, one to help defend your DNA, and one for the quiet repair your body does while you sleep. I won't promise you the world. I'll show you the mechanism and exactly what the science does and doesn't say. Always alongside your doctor, never instead. If that's the help you've been looking for, it's waiting for you right below. Tap the link. Take care of those cells. They're the only ones you've got.